Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu wasallam wa baraka nabi Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, Instagram fam, friends and followers of as-Saafiy, and welcome to another episode of Revert Reflections. On Monday, brothers and sisters, we began revisiting two of the principles that we started talking about last week. The first of those principles we revisited on Monday, and that was the principle al-yaqeen la yazulu bishak, that doubt should not be allowed to supplant certainty. And today I want to revisit the second of those two principles, which is the second of those two principles, which is da' ma yaribuk ila ma la yaribuk. Leave what makes you doubt for that which does not make you doubt. And this is another principle, as we said, with respect to the first principle, another principle that if we don't apply it, if we fail to apply it, it will result in very serious, very dire, very regretful consequences in this world and in the hereafter. And what happens exactly if we do the opposite? If we leave what is certain for what is doubtful? Let's explain with a worldly analogy. We're going to give another one of those nice worldly secular analogies, real life analogies, to show us what happens if in the conversation of faith, the conversation and believing in Allah's existence, if we allow ourselves to leave what we're certain of for that which makes us doubt, what will happen? So suppose, brothers and sisters, that you lived in some beautiful palatial estate. You have everything you could ever need or want in a home. You were completely satisfied. You were satisfied and beyond content. But along comes someone who says, this is a beautiful home you have here, but there is an even more beautiful estate out there somewhere. I don't know where it is. They admit, I don't know where it is. But I think it could be out there somewhere. All you have to do is leave this home, this beautiful palatial estate where you have everything you want or need. Leave it and go and look for it until you find this other estate that I'm not confident, I can't be certain, but I believe it's out there. So remember, you are certain that you have a home and certain that you are satisfied and happy with it. You don't know if this home that the stranger has described will please you as your present home pleases you, and you don't even know if it exists. But you leave your home anyway, in search of this other home mentioned to you by a total stranger. You spend a lifetime searching for it, but never find it, dying as a drifter, as a homeless nomad. What is the house in this analogy? The house in this analogy is belief in Allah's existence. It's faith. You are being asked to leave the house you know, to doubt, to question Allah's existence, for a house that is doubtful, unproven. The premise, the allegation, the claim that there is no God. There is no God. What proof? The question we have to ask ourselves when we're confronted with these arguments of the atheists regarding the existence of Allah, when we're confronted with the deniers or the arguments of the deniers of God's existence, we have to ask ourselves the same question they're asking us all the time. What proof have the atheists provided that God doesn't exist? If you, O Muslim, are convinced that Allah exists, you've seen enough proof and evidence to make you convinced and certain that Allah exists, you shouldn't abandon that conviction until you are certain of the contrary, until they can provide proof that's stronger than your proof that God doesn't exist. This is the meaning of the principle, da' ma yaribuk ila ma la yaribuk. Leave what makes you doubt for that which does not make you doubt. Leave what makes you doubt for that which is certain. That's what it means. It means if you are a believer and you are convinced, and as we said, there's a plethora, there's an abundance of evidence proving the existence of God. And we're going to look at some of that a little later down the road. Because again, what we said, this present topic, the topic of the principles that arm the believers, that weaponize the believers, that help the believers, giving them the tools to safeguard their faith from allowing the doubts and misconceptions of atheism to seep into their heart. Because when that seeps in, faith will seep out, faith will leave. When doubt enters, faith leaves. What we're doing is we're protecting and sealing all those cracks. And then this is just a sub-subject of the greater subject of what? Of Allah exists, or the believing in Allah's existence, which is one of the 4 elements of believing in Allah, which is part of our greater discussion of back to the basics. Just solidifying our foundation as believers in Islam, believers in our religion, believers in our religion of Islam. And the primary belief, the crux of our belief, is believing in Allah. Believing in Allah is 4 elements. The first element is believing in His existence. And there's a bunch of questions swarming around and doubts and militant people who have militant ideas about God not existing who are out there. We're going to be confronted by that. And we're trying to prepare ourselves to be able to withstand those arguments and not be fooled by them. That's what we're here to do. And that's what why we're giving the principles. And this principle, Da'ma Yaribuk, it's important for us. It's important for us because what we allow people to do is to flip the argument, put our religion on trial, and make us have to prove to them that God exists. No, we already know God exists. We've seen enough evidence. That's why we're believers. And so now that we are convinced, we're not going to leave conviction until you can convince us and provide evidence stronger than our evidence to the contrary. So again, what we have to do is we have to put the onus on the atheists and on the onus on atheism. And we can't leave what we know for that which they think, they doubt, they're uncertain of, they can't prove. Furthermore, brothers and sisters, and I'll close with this. If you leave certainty for that which is doubtful, you will be leaving something for nothing. In what logic? Because the people who confront us always talk about being reasonable, being logical, being rational. In what logic is nothing better than something? Think about that, brothers and sisters. Contemplate it. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode. Until then, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless your houses, to bless your spouses, to bless your families and your children, to bless your sources of livelihood and income. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless you and make you blessed wherever you may be. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to shower you with His blessings and to surround you with His protection. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.